The next thing we're going to do is create a measure chart for this pattern. So we have grading applied to all of our pieces and all of our style lines and our measure lines. So to create a measure chart, we have to open a notepad. Okay, this is should be on all PCs. We're then going to go to our graded spec page and we're going to highlight all of the points of measure, just the words, not the measurements. We're going to copy, Control C, and we're going to paste. Okay, just like this, you want them all on separate lines. And then we're going to say File, Save As. We're going to go into maybe your downloads. We're going to change this to all files. Okay, make sure you change it before you save. And then we're going to call this our initials 2502. You can call it measure chart if you want to. And then we're going to type in .mct. That is a measure chart file type that is recognized by AccuMark. And we're going to hit save. Then we're going to go back to our PDFs and we're going to go to File, Measure Chart, Create. And we're going to go find that file that we just made. Okay. It should be there. If it's not there, you probably saved it as a text file. If that is the case, go find it, delete it, go back to Notepad and do Save As again. If not, if you see it, just go ahead and hit Open. What it's going to do is it's going to make a row for every line of text that was in that notepad, and it's then going to reference your size line of your pattern and give you essentially a points of measure chart. To use the measure chart, we are going to highlight a cell. We are going to not use graded measure tools. We're going to use the regular verify measure tools. And you can use any of these tools and they will show up in this form here. What you can't do is use a particular line more than once. So we'll run into this issue with perhaps the center front length and the front neck drop. So for one of them, we'll use a straight measurement instead of a line length. So for center front length, I can select my center front line and my front neck drop line and say OK. It's going to give me the measurement for every size of those two lines added together. Right, for neck width, I'm going to use my back neck width line, which is this high point shoulder line. I'm going to select the line and say OK. Now this is only half of my neck width, so I need to double it. So I am going to right click on neck width and I'm going to choose double. I have lots of options for what I can do here. I'm just going to use double. You'll see the operation show up over here so that you'll know later if you open your measure chart what measurements you doubled and what you didn't. To continue my front neck drop, I'm going to use a straight measurement and I'm going to measure from my neck line to my high point shoulder line. Okay, I'm going from point to point. Now, when I click OK, it registers. It says front neck drop, high point shoulder to edge is 7. But I need to click OK again for it to show up in my chart. So if it doesn't show up right away, click OK again. Chances are you didn't click twice. I'm going to keep going. Line length, back neck drop. I'm going to choose this line right here. Shoulder width is this line right here, and it's going to be doubled. Across front is this line right here. Across, let's see, this is going to be doubled. Back yoke seam placement from high point shoulder. So that is the distance from this line to high point shoulder. So I'm going to use straight, and I'm going to measure from this point to this point. And I'm going to say OK. And then I'm going to say OK again. Across back is here and should be doubled. Bust is bust line plus bust line, doubled. Waist placement, straight on my front from center front waist to high point shoulder. OK twice. waist circumference, both waists, doubled. Hip placement from waist. So I'm measuring straight from hip line at center back, waistline at center back. Okay. Hip circumference, front and back, doubled. Sweep circumference, doubled. Armhole drop, this line that we graded. Front princess seam placement at armhole. That's this line right here that we graded with the specified length. Distance between front princess seams at hem, I'm going to use the straight measurement, and I'm going to measure from center front to the bottom of my princess seam line. And I'm going to double it. Oops, I forgot to say okay. Okay. If you look at the sketch, I give this measurement as a distance from one princess seam to the other. So from this princess seam to the other front princess seam. So this measurement right here needs to be doubled. Front princess seam at yoke is going to be from center back to the top of this princess seam. And say okay twice. Distance between back princess seams will be here to here and doubled. Once you're done, oops, what happened here? Did I skip this? If you have something like this, you can try clearing the row. You can also try clearing measurements. It won't clear your points of measure, but if you have already measured a line, it may have trouble putting that into your points of measure chart. I'm not sure what's happening there. Oh, I put the hip on my, why did I do that? All right, if you do that, if you put the measurement on the wrong line, you can clear the row, okay? And then you can remeasure, okay? And then here, okay? So, and both of these should be doubled. So what happens when you create these points of measure is it actually applies a connection between this chart and these lines. So if there's a connection that's incorrect, you have to break that connection. There are other things you can do, like you can modify, delete a point of measure. It's okay to do that if you're in a bind. I prefer to try clearing the row first. Sometimes when you delete a point of measure, it might delete the whole row from here. And then you have to go back in and do an insert row and retype your point of measure. So once you're done, you can drag and select this whole chart and you can say Control C, and then you're going to go into your grade rule table where you extracted your rules and you're going to do Control V. Okay? And I would like for you to have this in your spec when you turn in your assignment. I can close this and I can save my model. It's still there. Okay, I know one because my points of measure are there. I can also go to File, Measure Chart, and display it anytime I want to. Okay. So don't worry about closing it. If you want to hide your points of measure, go to View, Points of Measurement, Off. Okay. Highlight works too. Highlight basically just, it turns them on as you highlight lines, but I just prefer to turn them off. All right, the last thing we need to do on this pattern before we go ahead and make our marker is we need to break off our pieces. So we're going to use trace, which you all know how to use, and we're going to start tracing off our pieces. I'm going to add the pieces to my model as I go. I'm going to start in my center front. So I'm going center front, hem, princess seam, dart, dart, armhole, shoulder, front neck drop. I'm not going to take any internal lines with me because I have them all on my measure chart. And I'm going to start naming these. So my first one's going to be 01. And since I'm going to have two front pieces, I'm going to call this center front. And this is going to be a mirrored piece, so I'm going to do O1 in self. Then I'm going to start tracing my side piece. So I have hem, side seam, armhole, dart, dart, princess seam. And I'm going to name this O2 side front. And I'm going to cut 2 of them, 1 on each side. I'm going to do my back, center back, hem, princess seam, dart, top princess seam, back yoke seam. This will be O3, center, back, O2, S, because I have a zipper, not a mirrored piece at the back. Hem, side seam, armhole, back yoke, princess seam. Sorry. All right, let's try that again. Hem, side seam, armhole, back yoke seam, princess seam, dart, princess seam. Okay, this will be my O4 piece, side, back, O2, S. Okay, let's get this out of the way. I'm not sure how I got all of that with me. Let's delete this. All right, let's try that one again. There we go. All right, this is O4, side, back, O2, S. All right, and then I'm going to do my back yoke seam. I have armhole, shoulder. I'm struggling because I put these pieces too close to my other piece. Move this out of the way. When you have pieces that are too close, it struggles with which one you're trying to select. So, okay, this is my O5 back yoke, and I'm going to cut O4S because the back yoke is going to be doubled, and I need 2 pieces for one body because I have a zipper. And then if it's going to be doubled, I need 2 more, so 4. Okay. All right, and then I need my facing. So I'm going to trace here. So my front facing, I'm going to trace off 2 separate pieces and then join them. This is the first piece. Because I'm going to get rid of it, I'm just going to call it temp. Okay, and then this will also be temp. Let's go ahead and get our back. Okay, so this is going to be O7, back facing O2SF. We're going to do self and fusible. Okay, lastly, I am going to snap this point to this point. I'm going to go to modify, rotate, select this piece. I'm in none and select reference location. Select the piece, okay. Select this point, that's your rotation point. Select this point as your reference point, meaning it's the one you're going to snap. Snap that closed, say OK. Modify, piece actions, combine. Your merge line, add piece to model. Your merge line is the join line from your side piece. The target line is the join line from your center piece. Okay, that keeps your grain line in the correct location. Set it down. This is my O6 front facing O2SF. Nope, O1. It hits center front will be mirrored. Okay. I'm going to delete piece, this guy and this guy. And I'm going to add, nope, everything's added to my model. I'm going to save my model. And that's it. I have all my pieces.